Welcome, everybody. We have a small but mighty crowd here today because it was beautifully snowing here. It's stopped now, which is lovely. And we have a guest here. Kathy Angel is joining us, as well as our substitute, but becoming more regular drummer, Dave. Yay. And so I'm going to have them take us into music.
All right. Well, we thought, some snow is starting to fall around here. It's the holiday season, so we're going to start off with a familiar tune you may know.
Get your jingle bells ready. Everybody stand up. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way.
Ha, ha, ha!
Bells on bobtails ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. A day or two ago, I thought I'd take a ride, and soon Miss Fanny Bride was seated by my side. The horse was lean and lank, misfortune seemed his lot. We got into a drifted bank and then we got upsot. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Well, take a moment to greet some of these neighbors out there. And if you're on social media with us today, say hello.
Nice coconut.
Kathy. With a K.
Dave.
Hi, Don.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I welcome here.
Let's see. All right, well, I am going to invite our preteens and teens to come on up, if you would. And we have been doing, for those of you just joining us, we do what's called a nature Advent. Advent is ancient. And of course, the Catholic Church sort of took it and made it into this beautiful ritual leading up to the birth of Christ. But before that, there was an Advent that marked the Sundays before solstice. And so we're sort of comboing it because that's who we are. And so each week we've had a different energy brought to the altar. And so I'm going to invite our practitioner, Ronna Biggs, to go down front. And I'm going to invite the teachers and the two of you, if you don't mind. There's some folks, and when we get to that part, would you mind putting them on the altar? So we'll start with the first day of Advent. The first week of Advent is the week of stones, a force that lives in seashells, crystals, and in bones. The second week of Advent is the week of plants, plants that reach up to the sun and in the breezes dance. The third week of Advent is the week of beasts, a force that lives in creatures, the greatest and the least. We have a lot of creatures. And the fourth light of Advent, would you guys come on up? And the fourth week of Advent is the week of humankind, the light of thought to meet and understand, the compassion to open hearts. Here we go.
All right, well, let's sing these wonderful humans out to their class. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race. The world's got trees and bumblebees, rivers and lakes and the open seas, mountains and valleys and animals too, and a sun that shines on me and you. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race. We got Mother Nature and the human race.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to CSL Bellingham. Welcome if you are near and far. My name is Ronna Biggs, and I'm your practitioner for the day. And I'd like to invite you to join me in an opening prayer. In this beautiful moment, in this sacred setting, this joyous circle, I know that there is one love and one light. And that love is present within my heart and with the heart of everyone near and far. That this sacred circle is in itself a bright and warm light in the forest. And as we celebrate in community today, I allow the light to pour from my heart through kind smiles, through soft steps, and through gentle breath. And as the snow quiets all that is around, I allow the stillness of the inner voice of the divine to be heard within me more clearly. Oh, and what a joy to allow the light to shine
and that in this day I turn within and I shine all around. And thank you, sweet Spirit, for remembering to return to this light and to know this light and to share this light. And I release this prayer in all its truth, and so it is.
So it is. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am letting go. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am letting go. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am healed, I am made whole. I am healed, I am made whole. I surrender. I trust and I know as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. Let's sing that together. I surrender. I surrender. I trust and I know.
surrender. I fall into the arms of love. I fall into the arms of love.
Thank you. All right, and they're singing about letting go and surrender because I chose for today's talk the 2 instructions. And the 2 instructions come from one of my favorite poets. Maybe you know of her, Araya Mountain Dreamer. Have you heard of her? Look her up if you haven't. She's Canadian, which always makes her special. And she's written a number of really beautiful poems. This actually comes from a different writing, and this is the quote. Sometimes I think there are only 2 instructions we need to follow to develop and deepen our spiritual life. Slow down and let go. And so, I'm sitting there thinking, well, that's beautiful, and now what do I talk about? Because that's about it. I'm like, oh, well, so I was thinking about the founder of the Science of Mind philosophy. His name is Ernest Holmes. And Ernest Holmes was born in the late 1800s. And so from an entirely different society, different culture. And as he developed the Science of Mind philosophy, which was sort of going on during that time with all kinds of people, Ralph Waldo Emerson had preceded Holmes, and Nathaniel Hawthorne, Henry David Thoreau, Mary Baker Eddy, all kinds of spiritual thinkers that were American, and so they were, be sure if it's Santa to answer. And so Holmes watched as people began to try to apply the spiritual principles that all of these people were talking about. And he was looking at the tendency of sacred humans when he said this: realization without application is hallucination. And so what he was pointing to is that for all of us really, there can be a tendency, maybe you're past it now, but there can be a tendency to know something, to realize something, but have a great deal of difficulty applying it. I know I certainly still work with that. And that's fine, that's okay. Where it gets a little weird is when we have the realization and we think that's enough without applying it to our own life. And that's when hallucination, denial, all those kind of things come in. So why this applies to the 2 instructions. The first of the instructions is slow down. And slow down has to do with many of the great wisdom teachings that teach us to practice different techniques for calming and quieting the mind, as well as the body. And so, those things were not developed just sort of randomly. They were developed because there was a recognition from the Upanishads on that sacred humans are mainly working with the mind-body connection. And the mind is the driver a lot. And so to calm the mind and calm the body allows not only what we know now, the central nervous system, to calm down, but it allows space in the mind so that something else can show up. Because what happens to all of us still is, I think of it like this, sedimentary habits of conditioning. Sedimentary, it's like layer upon layer upon layer of sand and rock that are pressurized by the earth and pressurized and more layers and pressurized and more layers. And pretty soon you've got a very hardened strata of what essentially is rock that's really hard to move. And so you and I actually have some sedimentary habits of conditioning, of ways of thinking about ourselves and the world, of ways of responding to different situations. And the reason we would want to slow down is to begin to see the habitual responses we have, because they're habitual, right? So most of the time we don't even notice that we're doing something or saying something or being a certain way. And it's certainly extremely unpopular for someone else to point that out. That will be happening in the next few days if you have family coming. And so I always try to make these relevant to the holidays. So there is an application where, first of all, slowing down allows us to actually see the conditioned responses, the triggers is the more popular word to use now, that we have that set us off into certain habitual ways of responding. And why is that important? It's important for a couple of reasons. In order for us to have what Araya was talking about, to develop and deepen our spiritual life, we have to illuminate the places where we're not awake yet. We do. It's common to talk about the spiritual path as a path of awakening. And that's spoken like that because there's a kind of slow dawning of a greater awareness of our own behavior, our own thoughts, and our own actions, and how significant they are in our own well-being and the well-being of the planet. So waking up is critical. So slowing down allows us to all of a sudden see when we start to say something that's a habit. Well, money doesn't grow on trees, you know. What kind of thought is that? It's a lack thought. Or we read an article. I am of the age where I get AARP magazine. And I object to AARP magazine quite often because any of you get that? It's filled with fear. It supports fear. So, it's like I read it and then my physiological reaction is fearful. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I reading this? Recycle. But we have these sort of responses to different things, to social media, to other media forms, to books and all kinds of things, as well as our real triggers are other people. And slowing down enough to kind of notice what we're thinking, which is where it starts, what we're feeling, which follows thinking, and then what we're saying or doing, which follows thinking and feeling. When we are actually awake enough to sort of notice that, that is the moment where we can let the trigger, the conditioning, go. Maybe only for that moment. But with practice, it no longer operates for us. It's very powerful practice to be awake to what we're thinking, feeling, and doing and saying. So I'm sure that's why the 2 instructions for Araya are incredibly important. And they certainly are for me. And as I was thinking about it this morning, I was thinking about a couple of people that are really have shaped me in different ways. And one of them is Thomas Merton. And Thomas Merton was a Catholic monk, but he was a radical. He was a radical Catholic monk. And so he wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. And some of his writings are very, very potent. And one of the things that he was aware of, even in his time, which was he was kind of in the 60s and early 70s, was the height of his experience before he died. He was aware of society ramping up. And of course, the digital age had not even started yet, but he was aware of more and more and more and more driven behaviors and thoughts and expectations that were happening in society. And he said this: we are so obsessed with doing that we have no time and no imagination left for being. As a result, we are valued not for what we are, but for what we do. And I think that's true, largely. And part of the spiritual path is moving from that kind of orientation of, am I useful? Am I doing enough? Am I, out there getting it done, whatever it is, into a more slowed down, contemplative place of, who am I? And if I understand who I am, then I can offer from that place out. And so I was thinking a lot about it, and this quote by Margaret Mead. Do you know Margaret Mead? The famous anthropologist. See if I can find it because it keeps getting lost. Let's see. Here it is. She was quite something. One of her students, I can't find it, but that's okay. I have it enough. One of her students asked her what she considered to be the first sign of human civilization in a culture. And the expectation was that Mead would say something like, well, the creation of fish hooks or, clay pots or grinding stones or something like that. But instead, she said that the first sign of civilization in an ancient culture was a femur, a thigh bone, that had been broken and then healed. And I found the quote. Mead explained that in the animal kingdom, if you break your leg, you die. You can't run from danger, get to the river for a drink, or hunt for food. You are meat for prowling beasts. No animal survives a broken leg long enough for the bone to heal. So a broken femur that has healed is evidence that someone has taken time to stay with the one who fell and has bound up the wound, has carried the person to safety, and tended the person through recovery. Helping someone else through difficulty is where civilization starts. So I was thinking about that because I recently read the book, The Blue Zones, and that book is a fascinating book about, all those really super ancient people around the world, the Russians who, they're 115, and, Yoplait tried to tell us it was about yogurt, and, then there were the Japanese people who were living to 118, and they tried to tell us it was seaweed, and so this guy said, well, what is it? What is it about these zones of these really ancient people and their vitality? And so that whole book is a fascinating read if you haven't. But one of the things that he talks about is that in every one of these blue zones, there's several things in common. And one is service. That every single person, no matter how old they are, is expected to give back into the society in some way. And so there's a story about a Japanese woman who's like 108, and she's a bagger at a grocery store. There's a story about a man, I forget where he was, but he took it upon himself to be the safety guard for the children crossing from school into their neighborhood. So as I think about what Mead said, and I think about slowing down and letting go, one of the things that I'm aware of that needs to be let go, both individually and collectively, is this idea that we're separate. It's pretty rampant as an idea, is that we're rugged individualists and we're separate. And yet the truth of the matter is, you wouldn't be here except for all these other things that made it so that you could get here. From the food you eat to the metals that were mined for your car, or the plastics that were designed. Everything is interconnected. And for us to let go of our idea that somehow we're alone is a very powerful surrendering into something much deeper. I could say so much about this. I could tell you the story about the physician that asked one of her clients, her patients, who was really struggling emotionally and mentally. She asked the patient, well, can you name 5 people that would drop everything they were doing to show up for you? No. And that's common. It's common. And so for me, part of surrendering into an understanding of interconnectedness is then being willing to participate in it in a very awakened way. And that's why you're here, I'm assuming. At some level, you've understood the value or the importance of sitting with people, being a community. Live stream people, same thing. You wouldn't be watching. There's so many opportunities for you to watch somebody else. And here you are watching. And it's because we're a community. But even deeper than that, back to Merton's understanding of being versus doing. One of the things that a community can do, if it's an awakened community, is it can ask people to not only do, but to be. And to be is actually the greatest gift that we have. And it's not really something anybody else can name for any of us. But as I was thinking about it, it's like Michael Meade, that incredible myth maker, storyteller guy who lives on Vashon Island. Michael Meade wrote a book called Genius. And genius is an ancient mythological idea that each one of us, before we came here, looked into the earth and looked at the light we were carrying and said, I can bring that there. And that's what used to be called genius. It's transformed into IQ tests. But at the time of the myths, it was your inner light, the thing you are that you have, that you can bring. And so I was thinking about me, and I was thinking about our genius, that place where our unique gift shines out. And I was thinking of all the gifts that we could give in this time, particularly in times of darkness. It's our genius. That thing within us that is indestructible and immeasurable and us. And to know what that is not actually hard. I was thinking about this too. I was thinking, well, a lot of people go, well, I don't know what my genius is. I don't know. But all you have to do is look back into your life from childhood all the way forward, as much as you can remember, and pay attention to the places where you, of your own accord, nobody prompting you, did something that for you was incredibly generous. You might have taken flowers to someone who was sick, or written a letter to someone, or helped a friend at school, or been the one that didn't let the bullies beat up on someone. I don't know what it was for you. But we all have those places, and in those places, in there somewhere is the genius, is the light, is the thing that carries forward, a thread that winds through all of who we are, that is our deepest nature, and it's always, always indelible. Can't be taken away, even in the worst of times. And so, for me, I wrote down all these kind of things like compassion, kindness, peace, joy, love, light. There's so many. I don't know what yours is. But in this season of giving, how about if we be instead of do some of the time, so that we have the opportunity to actually shine light, not in some sort of pretentious way like, here, let me show you my light so you'll feel better. No. But being is the light. So let me do a prayer for that. My suspicion is that will save civilization. Just each of us. So here and now in this moment, in the quiet of this beautiful snowy day, I turn within. I slow down enough in mind and heart to understand that there truly is a genius at the innermost level of my being and yours. It's always been there. Sometimes it gets covered over with too much doing. And so now I let go of the covering. I let go of the busyness of things. I make space in my heart and my mind and allow that inner gift to be revealed again. As I do this, I am guided and directed in ways that who I am, my beingness, would be of great assistance. And I trust the guidance and the direction. It may be something so simple that it doesn't seem that important. But I let go of that idea too. Bringing myself into the awakened understanding that simply being is the greatest gift in any moment to myself and to the world. I let my light shine, and I'm so grateful to have been given this human life to do that. And so it is. Thank you. Oh, we're going to have a collection. The ushers are preparing. And so if you are able to give a donation to the center, by all means, we deeply appreciate any gifts you can give. And so let's have some music while that's happening.
I am open to receive all the good that is for me. I am open to receive perfect love and harmony. I am open to receive abundance and prosperity. I am open to receive all the good that is for me. I am open to receive all the good that is for me. I am open to receive perfect love and harmony. I am open to receive abundance and prosperity. I am open to receive all the good that is for me. I am open to receive all the good that is for me.
So a couple of announcements. We have a lot going on. So next Sunday is Christmas. And I'll be here. Any of you? Yeah, some of you will be here. And what's happening is we've given the band the day off. And as you heard, we've given the teachers the day off. And so it's just going to be me and one of our wonderful sound people. And we're going to have a shortened service because of that. And then we're going to have a potluck. And you're invited to come to the potluck and bring a dish. And I was telling the board, maybe I should have set out a list where people could say what they're bringing. And then I thought, well, you know, if it's all pie, we'll eat pie, you know. So I hope you'll come. The potluck will start at 11:45, or maybe even a little bit sooner than that, depending on how long we go. And it's a special way to celebrate in community, especially for those of us who don't have a lot of family around that will be joining us or will be joining them. I wanted you to know about a very special man here in our community named Philip Flores. And Philip, yeah. There he is. And Philip not only he does so many things, I can't even list them, but one of his most recent projects was to redevelop and redesign our website for the center. And I'd love you to go online to cslbellingham.org and check out the new website and see what he's created. So that's up, and we'd love to have you visit. Today, I don't know if we're having women's group or not. Are we having women's group? Yes, we're having women's group. So, I mean, so for those of us who are staying for that, today is a very special day. It's a day of gifting. And so if you're just hearing about this and you didn't know that you were to bring an unwrapped gift, I brought a couple extras. So we'd love you to stay and be a part of that. It'll start at noonish and go till 1:30. And then this Wednesday, we're having the winter solstice service. And this is an extremely special service because not only do we have Kathy Murray leading an incredible choir, but we have the entire contingent of the Sweet Goodbyes joining us almost.
Almost, except Dave now. He won't be here. Robin will be here. But,
Okay.
But yeah, there's going to be Lisa and our friend Michael and
my daughter Katie.
And Katie. Yes.
Who's terrified but singing with them. So that's happening at 7 p.m. this Wednesday evening. And we're asking you to come from the main parking lot because there'll be something you'll receive as you enter. And it's a night full of not only music but ritual. And I'll be giving a message. And it's an opportunity to really sink into the shortest day and the longest night of the year with the joy of knowing that sun returns starting Thursday. So there's that. And then because we also really, really love the master teacher Jesus, we celebrate Christmas Eve with a candlelighting service that has traditional carols, and we have a candle lighting. It's a really beautiful service. It also starts at 7. It's very child-friendly, so we do jingle bells, and it'll be great. So either of those, both of those, I'll be at both. Zena will be at both. We'd love you to be a part of either or both of those if it suits your world. And then Rana Pigs, for many years now, I've lost track, on the morning of December 31st. And we're saying that very deliberately, the morning of December 31st. So that is the morning of New Year's Eve. So at 4 o'clock in the morning, and that's because this is a synchronized world healing meditation that goes on across the globe, and somehow they made it Greenwich Mean Time, so those people get noon. We get 4 a.m. And we meet here in the classroom, and it's very quiet. It's very, very beautiful. And it is particularly, I think, this year, because of Ukraine, an opportunity to come together in community and pray for healing and for peace. So that's happening on the morning of the 31st, and you're welcome to come. And then, so next Sunday is Christmas, and the Sunday after that is New Year's Day. And New Year's Day is very special for us because it's an opportunity for the practitioners who are people who have learned to pray for other people. They all come, many of them come, and if you have an intention that you would like to see manifesting in the new year, they will be here to do a prayer specifically for you. So it'll be right after the service on the 1st. I wanted to invite Kalish up. Kalish, you may know, is a rabbi as well as a prayer practitioner here in our center, and she's going to tell you about what today signifies.
Good morning. I don't have enough hands, so I'll let you look at the menorah.
Oops, that's a little wobbly.
That has a place to light candles, because tonight is the first night of Hanukkah. And this way of lighting candles, where we light the first one tonight and we light 2 tomorrow night, We light 3 the next night. It came from Rabbi Hillel, and you might know who Rabbi Hillel is. He's the one that said, "If I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am not for others, what am I? And if not now, when?" Well, here in 2022, or 5783, your choice, here at CSL, I'm wanting to teach about the other rabbi back around the same time as Hillel that had a different idea. And his idea was to take 8 candles on the first night, 7 on the second night, 6 on the third night, etc. His name was Rabbi Shammai. And he probably was thinking that because the person who found the oil in the temple that lasted 8 days instead of only 1, he probably thought that, it was probably brighter the first night. That's not my reason. I think now it's time that we take the light that is all around us and take it inside, so that by the end of Hanukkah, all the light is inside each and every one of us. And we come forth from that essence and enjoy each other and enjoy our community as a whole. So tomorrow night is Conversations in Consciousness, my once a month gathering of whoever wants to show up. And if that interests you, we're going to do the 7 candles tomorrow night. And go ahead onto our website, the old one or the new one. We'll have my email address. Send me an email, and I'll send you the link. Thank you.
Take it away.
Grab your jingle bells.
All right, we'll sing out into this winter wonderland.
Everybody stand. Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away is the bluebird, here to stay is the new bird. He sings a love song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman, then pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, "Are you married?" We'll say, "No, man," but you can do the job when you're in town. Later on we'll conspire as we dream by the fire to face unafraid the plans that we made, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he's a circus clown. We'll have lots of fun with Mr. Snowman until the other kitties knock him down. When it snows, ain't it thrilling? Though your nose gets a chillin', we'll frolic and play the CSL way, walking in a winter wonderland. Walking in a winter wonderland. Walking in a winter wonderland.
You all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you maybe solstice.